Climate change is broadly accepted as one of the defining challenges of the 21st century. Less is clear about the consequences of climate change on our collective security. What are the geopolitical and security implications of climate change? In this explainer, I'll present 3 different ways in which climate change impacts our global and national security. Firstly, climate change increases geopolitical tensions over mitigation responses. In order to address the urgent need to reduce global warming, states have committed themselves to drastic fossil fuel reductions. The climate mitigation debate now and in the future will center around the question who bears more responsibility to act and to pay, and how quickly. Countries will compete to control the resources and the technologies needed for the clean energy transition. Transitions, per definition, are painful. Countries will have difficult economic choices to make, and there will be winners and losers in this transition. There will be increasing tensions between developed and developing states, between petrostates and non-petrostates, and between China and the United States. Ultimately, all roads lead to China. As greatest emitter of fossil fuels, but also the biggest investor in energy renewables, China is likely to set the pace of both phasing down fossil fuel use and phasing up renewable use. Climate change cooperation without China will be very difficult indeed. Secondly, climate change presents further pressures on interstate relations in geopolitical hotspots. New geopolitical hotspots are emerging as climate change is melting polar ice caps and presenting new strategic and economic opportunities for trade and the extraction of oil, natural gas, and minerals. But who has the right to control the seaways and to benefit from the vast and undiscovered natural resource deposits? This is an evolving concern in the Arctic region, where there's an historic tension between Arctic states on territorial claims, and at the same time, new states are getting involved to consider what these economic opportunities could bring them in the region. For example, Russia and China are currently working together on developing a Polar Silk Road, an extension of the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative in the Russian Arctic, which is set to reduce maritime routes from China to Europe by up to 40%, and also to create an economic zone of oil and gas extraction. As the Arctic is projected to hold up to 13% of the undiscovered oil and 30% of the undiscovered natural gas in the world, this will present big pressures on current global warming thresholds, not to mention the immense physical impacts it will have on an already climate-vulnerable region. Collaboration, therefore, on climate change remains a top priority. However, with Russia also investing heavily in its military presence in the region, this collaboration on climate change cannot be divorced from ongoing geopolitical trends and developments between Russia and NATO and between the United States and China. Thirdly, the physical effects of climate change affect the vital security interests of states. Climate-related hazards, such as extreme heat, rainfall, floods, and droughts, complicate and reduce access to fresh water, food, and energy. Fragile and vulnerable countries are hit doubly hard as they lack the coping and adaptive capacity to respond in an adequate way. This presents fundamental pressure on peoples in these regions to make alternative, sometimes illicit ways of living. It also may mean that they have to migrate to new areas. These impacts are not limited to national boundaries. Cross-border spillovers are already taking place in many regions around the world, with increased disputes at transboundary level over water, irregular migration, and also increases in violent extremism and international crime. These vulnerabilities demand an informed, coordinated, and timely response from the regional and international communities. To get a better grip on the geopolitical and security implications of climate change, the Hague Center for Strategic Studies has launched a Climate and Security Program, or CASP for short, that seeks to build a bridge between researchers, policymakers, and practitioners in the field. CASP has a threefold mission. Firstly, to develop and operationalize a realist framework on climate action. Secondly, to raise awareness and understanding on the link between climate-related risk, instability, and conflict. And thirdly, to provide a data-driven and early warning approach and support to policy and decision makers. For more information, please have a look at our website. Thank you very much.